The world-class Guga Special Economic Zone, or SEZ, is the right place for your business at the right time for strategic investment in the Eastern Cape and Africa, and the right choice to be on the cutting edge of future economic developments aligned to government policy, the Industrial Policy Action Plan and Special Economic Zone Act. Managed by the Guga Development Corporation, the Guga SEZ is situated in bustling Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, adjacent to the deep water port of Ngqura, and only 15 minutes from the port of Gqeberha. Equipped to handle all commodities, bulk, general and container cargo, it's the only SEZ in South Africa with 3 well-equipped ports which form the gateway to global accessibility, trade and investment. These ports are critical for imports and exports for the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro and are utilized by, among others, the automotive sector including Isuzu and Volkswagen South Africa to export parts and vehicles to world markets, making Guga SEZ a gateway to Africa and world markets. The 24-hour operated port of Ngqura is the national hub for container traffic, served by top global shipping lines with shipping, road and rail links to Southern Africa. It is a logical and viable destination at the crossroads of east-west trade routes. The port boasts 7 berths, 4 containers, 2 dry bulks and a liquid bulk in counting. This has made possible the CDC's expansion into several exciting sectors in the country. This massive 9,003 hectare Guga SEZ is furnished with 14 sector-specific zones which are ready for the development of logistics, metals, chemicals, automotive, both renewable and conventional energy, agro-processing and aquaculture, trade solutions, training and development, business process outsourcing and maritime sectors. All small, medium, large and mega industrial developments are welcome. After 20 years of existence in 2019, the Guga SEZ has earned no fewer than 20 prestigious national and international accolades, including the prestigious DTI's South Africa's Investor of the Year 2019 award. Its global reach makes Guga the leading SEZ in Africa, with private sector investment in excess of 11 billion rand. It is currently home to 50 local and international investors representing 9.5 billion rand in foreign direct investment. With the inclusion of the Nelson Mandela Bay Logistics Park in Uitenhage, adjacent to Volkswagen South Africa, the Guga SEZ has created a staggering 8,578 cumulative operational jobs, with this number increasing every year. Value proposition. The Guga SEZ offers tenants a host of benefits including world-class infrastructure, major rail and road connections to the region and to South and Southern Africa, purpose-built points to which investors can easily connect, giving tenants pre-allotted land, linked to roads, electricity and water supplies. The plug-and-play model which enables it to both attract and retain investors. Assistance in applying for various governmental and municipal incentives, including sector-specific incentives. Assistance with visa applications, work and study permits and applications for municipal services. Full human resource support including recruitment, training and labor relations. Facilitation of environmental approvals and license requirements. World-class support systems such as the Geographic Information System for optimal plant positioning, customs control areas in the logistics and automotive zones, and in-house expertise in delivering infrastructure projects of all sizes on budget and on time. Also on offer are some of the most affordable rates for developed and zoned industrial land in Africa, and international connectivity via the Chief David Stuurman International Airport, just 20 kilometers from the Guga SEZ. Easy access to Nelson Mandela Bay's world-class theatres, museums, restaurants, beaches, sports stadiums, hospitals and shopping malls. A gateway to major national cities such as Cape Town, which is 750 kilometers away along the beautiful Garden Route, Durban, which is 1,000 kilometers away, and Gauteng, which is 1,300 kilometers away. some of South Africa's top schools, as well as the Nelson Mandela University. Skills development systems which assist investors with training, registering work seeker and competency-based recruitment functionality, advanced labor management and coordinated worker transport services. Quality accommodation, conferencing and training facilities including apprenticeship training and development centers. An in-house medical clinic as well as the SHE systems including monitoring and control of waste, water and air quality, stormwater and effluent, alien plant eradication and open space management. Through strategic partnerships and organizational specialization, the Guga SEZ is driving regional industrial development, diversifying and expanding industrial bases and creating employment. Since its inception 20 years ago, the CDC has become one of Africa's leading and most successful SEZs and one of the biggest drivers of job creation and development in the Eastern Cape economy, which has led the World Bank to select Guga as one of the 7 examples of success out of thousands of SEZs around the world. Ala ala Guga. Guga Development Corporation. Right place, right time, right choice.
Over to you, Thabang.
Thank you so much, and good evening to the President of the Black Management Forum. Good evening to May Sibotoma, the Executive Manager for Corporate Services at Guga. And good evening to all the young professionals who have joined today's session. The purpose of today's session is to touch base and actually get an exposure into the various development opportunities which are there available for the young professionals, which can be tapped into. You know what's commonly trending on social media to say, re-squeezing in. So today we have invited 2 powerful, very powerful female leaders in our country from the 2 most dominant and most effective organizations to come and share with us the various opportunities which exist for us as young professionals to tap into. And so saying, I would invite the chairperson of the Black Management Forum Young Professionals, Mr. Papama, to introduce our guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thabang. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Papama Mngandi. I work with Thabang in the Young Professionals. Thabang is the head of community development within the portfolios of the BMF Young Professionals. And we have 2 special guests this evening, our president, Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi, and Mayor Mogaetsi Sebotuma from the Guga Development Corporation. I'm just going to read a quick bio of Mayor Sebotuma, who's going to be the first presenter this evening. And it goes a little something like this. She's a highly experienced and skilled and multifaceted business leader with extensive experience in the energy sector. We know that energy is important in the country at the moment. In particular, the oil and gas industry, which are very topical industries. Memo Khaiti holds a BProc and LLB degree from the University of Natal, as well as an LLM degree from the University of the Witwatersrand. She's an admitted attorney of the High Court of South Africa, an associate certified coach, working towards her ICF credentialing, and a certified Proctor Gallagher consultant. After joining Petro SA in 2004, she rose through diverse legal and commercial roles to achieve her position as head of legal counsel. After 17 years at the institution, she honed her skills by venturing into private practice through the establishment of Divinity Global Group, an emerging Black-owned company specializing in leadership development, and executive and management coaching, mentoring, and consulting. Mokgweetsi is also a keynote speaker. She has served on numerous boards throughout her career, and her experience includes legal and compliance roles with the Human Rights Commission of South Africa and the Competition Commission of South Africa. And recently she joined none other than the Guga Development Corporation to head up corporate affairs. Over to you, Mayor, and thank you for gracing us this evening.
Thank you very much, Papama, and good evening. I'm just going to switch on my camera. I hope everyone can see me and that I am loud and clear. Thank you for that introduction. Good evening to the President of BMF, Dr. Vilakazi. We at Guga would like to congratulate you officially. We are very, very proud to see women rising through the ranks, especially in this environment where you are charged with leading young minds. So anything is possible because you are at the helm as women in BMF, and we thank the men that contributed to that leadership rising. So thank you, Papama. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Mokgweetsi Sebotuma. I am the Executive Manager for Corporate Services at the Guga Development Corporation. This month marks my 12th month at the Guga Development Corporation. I am also a mother, seeing as Sunday is Mother's Day. I've got 3 little angels, 2 boys and a girl, so that's always important, although it's not in the bio. And happy Mother's Day in advance to all the mothers on the call. I celebrate you. So if I can just have the presentation beamed, then I will start. And okay, good evening to all the young professionals on the call. I know that there will be youthful professionals at heart on the call as well, so we mustn't assume that the webinar is only for young people. Some people may be here on behalf of others, and that's how we carry forward the message. So I've got a presentation here that I am going to take you through. But before I do that, I just want to briefly speak to you so that I can prepare this land so that the seed that I'm going to plant can land on very rich soil. I'm going to ask you to remove all distractions, switch off the phone if you are at home, make sure that you tell everyone not to be disturbed for the next 1.5 hours because you don't want to miss anything that we're going to share with you this evening. Have your water, have your coffee. If you're having dinner, enjoy your dinner while you listen to us, and have a pen and paper because you will want to take notes. You may also want to, note down some questions if you have. So with that, I want to also say that, I can't speak to young people without also putting my mentor and coach hat on. And so my presentation to you today will start with me saying that with anything that you want to do in life as a young person, you want to start looking at your purpose, because I know many of us were told to go to school, complete matric, go to tertiary institutions to the extent that we could get access to funding, and study and get those degrees and then get into the job market, stay for 40 years and then retire and then disappear into the sunset. That is the narrative that we were brought up with. Definitely, I was brought up with that. Hence, you had in my bio, there are multiple degrees in there. I continue to study. But my message to you is that look at why you are doing what you're doing. Because for a very long time, I just worked so that I can earn a salary, but always with the intention of rising through the ladder in corporate. And I did that, and I did that very well. But when you get to the top, you start looking around and saying, what else is there? And my what else question led me to looking into the meaning of everything about my life, including what I was doing for the many years that I was a corporate lawyer. And that question then led me on, made me curious, and I started searching for to understand the meaning of my life. Why was I created? Why am I here? What purpose am I here to fulfill? And the answers were revealed along the way. I didn't sit and wait for the answers to come. I continued to do stuff while I was searching for the answers that I was searching on, because you will not find the answer on day one. So it's a discovery process while you are on the journey. And hence, we believe that success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So decide what your ideal is, which will be your purpose. You would know that Utata Nelson Mandela always spoke about a worthy ideal, your ideal, your ideal. So want to find out what that means as a young person. And then secondly, what's important is to build a clear picture of what that is going to look like. And by that, I mean, when you decide to drive from, say, Polokwane or Zimbabwe to Cape Town, you have to put in the GPS directions, you know, I'm going to a destination, what's your destination? And then you have a clear picture of, you know, what Cape Town looks like in your mind, so that you can visualize it, envision it from time to time. And then set goals for yourself to say, in order to achieve this vision, in order to live my purpose and to be on purpose, this is what I need to do. And then you take daily actions towards that goal. And once you do that, then everything that you do in your life must be linked to your vision and your purpose. If there's no alignment, you will forever be distracted. And you know, some wise person said, we suffer from poverty of imagination and lack of attention. So young people are occupied by many things, but if you look at what actually occupies them, it doesn't bear meaning. It has no meaning. It's not taking them anywhere. So I'm going to leave you or leave this discussion on this note that says, if one does not know to which part one is sailing, no wind is favorable. This is a quote from a very smart Roman philosopher, Lucius Annaeus Seneca. And so that leads us into my presentation, but I want you always to be thinking and asking yourself, what is my purpose? What is my vision? What are my goals? And are my goals moving me closer to my vision and my purpose? And then you leave all other distractions that don't want you and spend time where it is required to get you closer to your purpose. And that brings us to this presentation this evening. It is all about Guga, which is the beacon of hope and light in the Eastern Cape province. We are situated in Gqeberha, to be specific. However, we reverberate throughout the province, and we take a national posture, and we have aspirations to go into the globe. We also have presence in the African continent. So I spoke about vision. You will see on this slide, it very clearly outlines that you need to have a vision, you need to have a mission and values that, you know, you adhere to or you live by, that define your life, because those things are the parameters which help you make decisions about the choices that you want to make. So our vision at Guga is to be the leading catalyst for championing of socioeconomic development. So transformation and meaningful transformation is at the core of what we do. Without that, then we wouldn't be in business. That is our business. And our mission is to provide competitive investment locations, as you heard in the video, facilitate holistic infrastructure and value-adding commercial business solutions. And there are values, integrity. If you're operating in the space of state-owned companies, state-owned entities, you for sure want to have integrity, because we deal with tenders and everything else. And therefore, there are certain ways of being that are not acceptable to being a Kucha employee. And then innovation, of course, it's on a needs basis in terms of the services that we provide. They are custom made. It's not a situation of cut and paste that we did work for so-and-so, so we'll do the same thing for the next person. We look at the needs of our clients and make sure that we tailor make our solutions to what they need. And of course, we're always looking for opportunities for improvement. And we can never win alone. We need to mobilize partnerships. We need to mobilize collaboration so that we can leverage the synergies that exist out there, because every entity, whether in government, private, public partnerships, everyone brings their own color, their own flavor. And when you combine, you can end up with a very good cake mix, that everyone will appreciate. And of course, service excellence is at the core and center of who we are as employees of the organization. When people see us being out there, whether it's at conferences where we normally present in Davos, we're talking to investors, we're talking to government representatives or officials, we want to be seen to be people who are bringing value and excellence to the conversation. And that is what we are known for. And we are known for delivering our services on time, with speed, on quality, and within cost. And we are customer-centric. And sustainability, in terms of sustainability, we would not be where we are if that was not at the center. And of course, ESG is at the core of every conversation with the UN development goals. We aspire to those as well, and we've set ourselves targets insofar as those are concerned. Next slide. Thank you. So the priority investment sectors, energy is, at the core, and it is topical, looking at what is happening in our country. We have challenges. We can all agree on that, from, the consistent supply of electricity. We are challenged, and therefore we are called to be the ones who participate in finding solutions for the country, but also attracting investors who will come into the zone and invest in energy. Logistics, chemicals, automotive. Automotive is big because the investment into automotive industries started here in Gqeberha many years ago, and that remains a big industry in South Africa. And you will find us there, not only in the Eastern Cape, but also in other provinces as well. Maritime, the oceans economy, very big for us as well. And metals, as well as business processes and agro-processing. So we need to focus on skills development through the lens of advancing industrial and socioeconomic development throughout the country based on sectors outlined by the NDP. Next slide. This is our performance for financial year 2021-2022. In terms of investment destination, we are an investment destination of choice. In that year, we attracted 13 new investors into the zone with an investment value to the tune of 557.7 million, and 55 operational investors with an investment value of 10.38 billion. and revenue generated of 628.1 million, which includes both the SEZ and non-SEZ programs, and Job Creation Hub, 9,659 operational jobs were created, and SMME procurement, which is set for us at 33%, SMME procurement spend of 35.32%, which means we exceeded targets, and 3,296 people trained. So this is the business that we are all about. As you listen to those outcomes and pillars of our performance, you are immediately able to link them to our vision, which is championing socioeconomic development. You may move to the next slide. Here we outline the mandate of the organization in relation to socioeconomic transformation, looking firstly as our identity. If you don't know who you are, even as an individual, then you are lost. So again, another homework, be interested in finding out who you are. You think you know yourself, but there is a higher person within you that you haven't met yet. So we wanted to know who we are. We had to define that. We are a public entity, which means that all plans and strategic initiatives should align to the plans of government as well as policies of government. And the NDP, of course, is at the center of everything that we do. It's a reference point, it's a radar screen, giving us direction in terms of where we are taking this business and the impact that we want to have in the country, on the continent and beyond. Our mandate is to develop and operate the SEZ, which is land of 9,003 hectares in the SEZ. And that's where we're championing socioeconomic development, but we've grown beyond just the SEZ, as I've indicated. And then Guha Human Resources and Skills Development, Guha Capacity and Capability, and enable economic fit for purpose skills development and education. I'm emphasizing that because the future of work is changing. What existed during our parents' time no longer, is a fit today. So what are we looking at? So it's exciting times for young professionals. And we need to be on the lookout, but not only that, we need to ready ourselves so that when the opportunities arise, you are ready to squeeze yourself in, Thabang. You won't need to be squeezed when you are ready. Partnerships and funding. Through the Guha Skills Development Center, partnerships are formed with various SETAs and organizations to implement skills development and training. We are big on that as well. We believe in, training at all levels in and outside of our organization. And we've got a skills development center that does that within our Guha precinct here in Gqeberha. And then skills demand to build the economy. We focus on the STEM related skills because the kind of jobs that need to be done by Guha are STEM based in terms of engineering and other professions. So maths and science are at the heartbeat of everything that we do. Next slide. Next slide. Let's look at the opportunities facilitated by Guha. We are just a vehicle that is driving socioeconomic development on behalf of government. And so as it relates to the BBBE program, we are guided by the various revised BBBE codes of good practice, and performance is also measured against the targets of the specialized scorecard, which focuses on management control, employment equity, skills development, and socioeconomic development. And the CDC conducts an annual BBBE audit through accredited institutions. And during the previous financial year, 2020-2021, we achieved level 3 status, and that came down from level 2 the year prior to that one, due to the decline in expenditure of corporate social responsibility and skills development programs as a result of lack of funding. So we depend a lot on grant funding from the SETAs, and when they changed their requirements, we were negatively affected, but we don't give up. We continue to look for funding from other sources. And in fact, we started a capital raising and allocation unit or division in the organization to raise funds for projects, because even the projects that we carry out are funded were funded by government. So we continue to get a portion of funding, but it doesn't necessarily contribute to skills development programs. So CDC is committed to BBBEE through initiatives implemented to promote economic empowerment and compliance. And the organization continue to embrace transformation and ensure economic participation of disadvantaged communities it serves. So we want to make sure that we transform the communities that we operate in, and ensure that there are sustainable livelihoods that are created as a result of our presence. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. Coega SMME Development Program, to continue on this path, the program has proven very, very successful since its inception in 2014, having trained over 2,500 SMMEs over the years. And as at the end of 2020-2021 financial year, a total of 410 SMMEs benefited from the training program. Of these, 105 SMMEs received SETA accredited training, and 305 SMMEs received non-accredited training. In addition, the SMME unit conducted compliance workshops in partnership with SARS and CIBD, which is the industry body that regulates construction, as you may be aware, and 587 SMMEs benefited from these sessions. And Coega continues to create an enabling environment for local businesses, small businesses, through Coega's SMME database, and 1.5 billion was spent on SMMEs during 2021 and 2022, surpassing the 33% CDC target, inclusive of SEZ and non-SEZ programs. Former SMME Development Program beneficiary Tandem Mhlobiso launched Mhlobiso Concrete in Coega SEZ. So what this means is that we took a BEE company through our program, SMME Development Program, and that company graduated, went on to establish 5 other subsidiaries, and then set up shop within the SEZ. When we talk about meaningful transformation, that is what we're talking about. We want to make sure that the people that we take through the program can go on and create their own companies, and start to think bigger than they ever imagined that they could. And this is one of the examples that we have. And in terms of the program, it comprises of training and mentorship of SMME, and SMMEs are equipped with the following: tender to construction contracts, and applying basic business concepts, applying health and safety to a work area, and understanding and applying business finance. The total value of contracts awarded to SMMEs through the program amounts to 301 million 3,046 518 rand. That is a lot of money. As you can hear, I can't even pronounce it properly because it's just a mouthful when you think about the kind of wealth that we are looking at here for SMMEs that are involved. So the program is implemented during the financial year to ensure that 80% of SMMEs awarded contracts successfully completed the program. That is at the core. We want to ensure that everyone who comes in is completing the program, while 59 of the SMMEs successfully upgraded to CIDB from one grade to another, because when we award contracts, depending on the size of the contract, we want to make sure that the companies are properly equipped to handle the work that we do, because we don't want excuses while the project is underway. Next slide. In terms of training, last year we partnered with the NID in order to ensure that and this is the National Skills Fund, and our partnership ensured that as Guha, we could accommodate 74 young persons living with disabilities to begin skills development training in the hospitality sector. And all learners are from the Nelson Mandela Bay area and are between the ages of 18 and 35. And with regard to employment equity candidates with impairments such as partial hearing or sight loss, psychological disorders such as depression, anxiety disorders, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, and intellectual disability, such as ADHD, ADD, moderate intellectual disability, dyslexia, and chronic progressive diseases. All these categories of people living with disabilities were given a preference during our selection process. And we do this because we believe that every person is God's highest form of creation. It doesn't matter what you look like, how you are, what's going on, within you in terms of your mind and your emotions, but we want everyone to be given an opportunity. And the pictures that you see there was us launching the program last year. Next slide. The Guha SMME development program, this comes from way back. We don't have a fresh one, 2020, 2021, but I thought it's a good way of painting a picture in terms of what we've been doing. And I can promise you that the results are looking even better because we've come to an end of financial year 2022, 2023. And the work that we're doing is just growing from, stride to stride and getting bigger and bigger. So yes, we have done well, but there is so much more to be done, not only for Gqeberha and not only for the Eastern Cape province, but for the country and the continent, because the kind of skills and the kind of work that we do, we want to supply the market beyond the borders of South Africa. So if you look at this picture in terms of performance, there's a breakdown in terms of Black men owned. 86% was allocated to Black men owned, whereas Black youth owned 1%. And this is where I'm going to be in trouble with the youth of our country, because really, if we are serious, we ought to be looking at that very, very seriously. And I'm looking to have more conversations with young professionals in our country, not only from a corporate path perspective, but also from preparing yourself, as I said, to take advantage of these opportunities. And also dealing with the barriers that may be preventing you young people to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. And 13% was awarded to Black women owned, and you can see the amount in terms of value. I will not go into that. So you may proceed, and then we break it down also by province, because I said we are not only in the Eastern Cape, we've got the other provinces there. Next slide. Here we're just showcasing more of the work that we're doing in terms of SMME. I already spoke to that at length. 1.5 billion spent on SMME in 2021-2022, surpassing our target. This year it's at a much, much higher amount. We've increased by more than 10% what we've done in 2021-2022. You may go to the next slide. I already spoke about Mhlobiso Concrete. We are very, very proud. This is the owner, the founder of Mhlobiso, and he started Mantishe Construction, became a CDC, small, medium-sized and micro enterprise. And he participated in our SMME program, and he was a recipient in 2009. And the Kuha SMME development program assisted the SMME to become sustainable through its training and mentorship program, raising awareness and encouraging BEE compliance, assisting BEE certificate attainment under the amended codes. And over a period of 16 years, Thando Mhlobisi, who is the owner and the CEO, established 5 sister companies: Mhlobiso Concrete, Mhlobiso Plant Hire, Mhlobiso Asphalt, Mhlobiso Transport, and Mhlobiso Properties under the holding company name Mhlobiso Group. This is what I'm talking about when I say dream and dream big, because guess what? Dreams do come true. Next slide. SMME profile, we can skip this so that we save time. I will not go into the profile here. Let's continue, next slide. The BBBE program seeks to pursue a number of initiatives which prioritize empowerment, unlock opportunity and talent, and stimulate the local economy, and which ultimately contribute to the improvement of the organization's BEE level. And we are looking at improvement plans. You heard me saying we achieved level 3. I believe that with the good work that we're doing and with more work that we're going to be doing, we can definitely improve that score. And we are working towards that. I've only been around for 1 year, and I'm seeing so many things that can be done. So we need a lot of assistance in the work that we want to do. The program focuses on non-construction sectors primarily. And then in terms of the pillars, we've got, for the BE program and the initiatives that we focus on, I want to ensure that we are identifying enterprise and supplier development beneficiaries. And this involves the process of identifying the needs of beneficiary entities for the enterprise development supplier program, and also the BBBE verification planning and process, helping with analyzing verification of data for the SMMEs, and also preparing the audit file to help them go through those motions, as well as the BE Roadshow program that we are so proud of, in order to raise awareness and to encourage BE compliance, and also to provide assistance and guidance on obtaining BBBE certificate under amended codes. Next slide. And of course, funding is a very, very big barrier for SMMEs. I can imagine that it's worse when you are a young professional or a young person going to the bank looking for funding, or just looking for people to back you up with the idea that you have, because people want to go with companies that have track records and so we saw it fit to establish the small business finance and support that offers financial and strategic support to SMMEs in the South African construction sector. And FSB provides bridging finance and it supports the SMMEs working in the Eastern Cape, KZN, and other national and on other national infrastructure development projects as contractors or subcontractors or larger, more established construction firms. And the objectives of the SBFS is to support sustainable enterprise development, especially through the creation of conservation of SMME jobs. Next slide. Here we are just showcasing what takes place in the interactions that take place between our SMME finance, to support the BEs that we deal with or SMMEs that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. Next slide. Okay, here we are just showcasing the products. Of course, you can contact us if you want more details so that we can channel you to the right people who can help you. I will not, go through the different products. They are, highlighted here on the slide, and I'm sure they are clear for all to see. Next slide. Next slide. Here, okay, the important thing on the previous slide is just to show the turnaround times for us in terms of approval processes. We ensure that, there's efficiency and effectiveness in delivering assistance to the SMMEs that require it. On this slide, the important things to look at are the achievements for the financial year 2021-2022. In terms of construction contracting skills program, the CETA accredited training, we achieved 261 people trained, and non-accredited training, 437 people trained, and the total there was 698. And successful completion of projects, 80% of SMMEs awarded contracts have successfully completed work packages. And of course, we work to support those who were not successful in completing their work packages so that we can improve in that area. In CIBD upgrades, 132 SMMEs who came without, any professional status have successfully been upgraded on CIDB through our intervention and support. Next slide. SMME target achievement. Here you can see, actually this is from this year's results. And of course, everything needs to be audited and all of that. So we are just showing that indicated, that we exceeded what we did the previous year. And you can see the more than 40% that we achieved in the past financial year. Next slide. Now moving over to our quest to empower Black-owned businesses. These are just the pictures and the achievements. We always want to make sure that we are celebrating the milestones for these BEs as they come in and as they graduate and get launched into the market, because we are not only helping them so that they can carry out work for us, because the pot is limited, but we want them to go out and flourish. And therefore celebrating and marking these important milestones are important so that, we can showcase them to the market and support them as they venture out. Next slide. Okay, training pictures, next slide. Okay, here again, celebrating what we do. So people in the field, these are BE, owners that are out there and making things happen. And you can see the coverage by the SABC News as well, which we are very proud of. Next slide. Okay, here we are also showcasing what happens in terms of, small businesses coming together to collaborate so that they can do work within the special economic zone that we have here. This is one of the investors in the zone. They collaborated in order to deliver on a project and set up business as the Guha Dairy Extension. So they are not owned by us. They are in the zone. And yeah, thank you. Next slide. Okay, this just shows our status. We can move on. Corporate social investment, that's the other arm. We've got a foundation that was established 5 years ago by the CDC. And we've got a policy, first of all, that outlines, the company's CSI objectives and our involvement in community development projects. It also sets out the processes and procedures by which the organization will identify, manage, and support the CSI activities. And our areas of focus are education, skills development, rural development, health, crime prevention, anti-corruption education, as well as sports and recreation. And our CSI focus areas are aligned to the NDP aspirations. Next slide. We've got numerous programs under which are our flagship programs, and these are housed within the Guha Development Foundation, which is a vehicle that is there to ensure that we can achieve on our socioeconomic transformation goals, as well as ensuring that we can raise the necessary funding that is required in order to carry out these projects. And of course, we look for partnership opportunities because we recognize that the problem is too big for one company to solve. So some of the programs that we have are the Guha internship program. The Guha flagship internship program was established 15 years ago, and it continues. And what is important about it is that we want to ensure that we give fresh graduates exposure to the job market so that they can acquire skills and then go on and find permanent jobs. And we do our very best to make sure that we absorb them and place them within the organization as well. The Guha NID, I already spoke about that. The Guha MECSITA, which is ICT graduate program. What we found here was that it is difficult for ICT graduates within the province to find jobs in reputable companies. So we wanted to reskill them and upgrade the qualifications that they already have. And we got 50 unemployed, graduates in ICT, and they were on an 8-month internship program, and most of them got employment before they could even finish their internship. So they were being snatched like hotcakes, but we look forward to, making a bigger impact because it showed that the problem is not unemployment, necessarily in certain instances, but it's employability. And that's the intervention that we put there. One of our other flagship programs is the Guha Maths and Science program, where we are wanting to give or allow matriculants to apply for a unique opportunity to improve their grade 12 mathematics and physical science results. And this program has been running for 10 years. And in the 10 years, we have trained we've given opportunities to more than 1,000 learners. And these learners go on, they come to us with, some have results in their 60s in mathematics and physical science. Some are very, very low, and we encourage them. We put them through the program. We can only take 100. And in the first quarter of this year, we came together with the Human Resources Council in the Eastern Cape and other stakeholders, and the Department of Basic Education was there. We looked at how big is the problem and how much bigger is the problem for the Eastern Cape. Because if you look at the results, we are behind, but what we are proud of is that in terms of numbers, we are doing great. We haven't reduced our numbers just so that a few talented, learners can shine, but we're giving everybody who wants to do mathematics an opportunity, and we don't necessarily immediately move learners to Maths Lit or Maths what. So this year was declared as the year of mathematics at a national level. So this is very serious business for us, because this is the pipeline. We are actually catching it late at grade 12. Desirably, we should be starting at the lower grades, and we're looking to expand this, and we're looking for partnerships, and there are so many possibilities on the radar to make it happen. The next one. The Guga Flagship Internship Program. I spoke about this. We want to give, interns an opportunity for experiential learning, so that they can build some experience, so that it becomes easier when they apply for jobs. Next slide. Our intake was 111. I think those are the numbers that we had in the previous financial year, but these numbers are growing, and we are partnering with others to help them achieve, what they can do themselves through that program as well. In terms of CSI, I already spoke to the math and science. This is just us showcasing our 100% pass rate in 2022 in mathematics and 100% pass rate in science. As I said, we are very serious about, the STEM fields and ensuring that we can produce relevant skills for Guga and for the country and beyond. Next slide. Okay, here we were celebrating the graduation of the young learners as they were, about to go to the various institutions of learning around the country. And we give a break number in terms of participation. You can see that the scales are tipped in favor of females at 75%, whereas males were 25%. This year we had initially an intake of 100. However, 10 were snatched to go and study at tertiary institutions. So we're remaining with about 90. But as I said, we think we can make a much bigger impact, and therefore we are collaborating with others to ensure that we can do that. And mathematics, we had the top 10 learners were 6 females and 4 males. And then on the science side, it was top 10 learners were 5 females and 5 males. We can see, a balanced scale there. Next slide. Okay, the Mexita program I already spoke to. You can skip this one. Thank you. Okay, one of our CEO, Mr. Kwesi Diaz, I'll call it a pet project, like he's passionate about this one. The Guga Global Scholar Program. This program was launched by Guga in 2021, and it is intended to, look at a pool of identifying talent in the market and also to help us with talent identification and retention program of the organization. But we are open to training for the country. And therefore, some of you may recall that when it opened, it was open to the entire country in terms of the opportunities that we were looking to give young professionals who are at master's level in terms of their post-graduation training. And out of that whole process, we received 200 applications and only 2 applicants went through. This was a rigorous program. And I think there are many lessons that came out in terms of how to go about, making applications, how early on to start. And there are so many lessons to draw from. And then late last year, we opened it up for our second round, but it was only limited to KUHA employees. And we are going through that process with, a few applications. And I must say that the challenge here is that too many young people have commitments. And now when you come with a program like this, someone with a master's perhaps already has a family, they already have obligations. And the question is, how do we enable so that young people can take advantage of this? Because really, we're not getting the numbers that we wanted. Next slide. The KUHA Skills Development Training Center, I already spoke to, the number of people trained in 2021, 2022, we trained over 3,296 people in various trades. They included youth, women, and people living with disabilities. And our Skills Development Center has mobile capability to provide its service throughout rural and urban South Africa. And the primary aim of the skills development courses is to offer unemployed youth an opportunity to access employment or become entrepreneurs, thereby contributing to the improvement of livelihoods and ultimately economic development. Next slide. Okay, great. We can pass this one. This is our driver training. Again, we have mobility to reach, the far-flung places in the province to give access to driver lessons because that was one of the barriers that were identified. Now, this is a pet project that even in the organization, I have not announced that last month I, through Papama's facilitation as the chairperson of the young professionals, was able to kickstart something that we spoke about when we met. I'm not sure whether it was in August or September last year. When we first met, we birthed this idea of how can KUHA support young women who are in BMF, who aspire to become leaders or who are already on that journey or path. I, of course, when in corporate, we are like an elephant. It takes a while to get the ball rolling because there are so many things that occupy us. And with all good intentions, sometimes it takes long to make things happen. But we were able to make this happen. And we've had only one session with, I think, close to 20, if not more, women that we have on this group of young professionals. And we are looking at, helping them with what I spoke about earlier, understand or discover their purpose and look at their vision and start focusing on goals. And I want to say that my opportunities came from unexpected places in the sense that when I went to work for PetroSA, I was on holiday in Cape Town visiting a friend, having taken a bus from Gauteng. And and traveled overnight. And at this braai, I meet, these ladies, and we start talking. One thing leads to another. Lo and behold, a couple of months, an opening comes up for a legal advisor, and I raise my hand. I get appointed. I was in a good job in Pretoria at the Competition Commission at the time. And then another example of this was that when I got to the top at Petro SA, I started looking around. While I was looking at meaning, I was looking at what else can I do? And of course, I got into coaching as part of that path of discovering what I was born to do, and mentoring. Lo and behold, then I meet someone who was doing Herbalife, and I could have thought, this is so not me. I don't need to lose weight. I don't, and not listen, but I listened. I tried the shake. I was on a 5-day challenge. And then the lady who was my sponsor started talking to me about goals. Let me tell you, that was the very first time anybody had ever spoken to me about goals, other than my father, because, he was always saying, okay, what are you going to do next? What are you going to do next? But not someone who asked me about goals. And that's why I'm so passionate about goals, because they are the radar that is going to take you to your destination. If you don't have goals, you'll forever be going around in circles. And so this is a program that is very, very special. And I look forward to the session with this group of ladies tomorrow evening, where we are going to do some special reflections and some teaching that I'm going to do, and more teaching and more reflection and lots of fun. So I'm going to end it here and say thank you very much, and apologies for, I don't know if I overran on time, but it was important that I deliver the message that I had for you tonight. Thank you, Papama. Thank you to the president. Being in the presence of greatness means I must go back and change my title from executive manager to president corporate services now. The energy rubs off. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, Ms. Mukhaiji. We thank you so much for such a comprehensive presentation. I will now hand over to Papama, the chairperson of Young Professionals within Black Management Forum, to introduce the president of BMF, as she will be also sharing the various opportunities that are there, development opportunities that are there for the young professionals. Over to you, Papam.
Thank you so much, Memo Khaichi, and thanks Thabang. I'm going to speed right ahead and introduce Doc. Doc, I know you and I want to keep this introduction brief. We're mindful of time, but I couldn't help but shake the fact that I didn't do the earlier introduction justice. So I don't want to leave out the fact that there's Mother's Day coming out on Sunday. So Dr. Sibongile Vilakazi is a mother, an academic and non-executive director who hails from Piet Retief, small town in Mpumalanga. She completed her schooling career in Secunda and went to further her studies at the University of Pretoria, the Wits Business School, and the Thabo Mbeki School of Leadership. She completed an MA in Research Psychology, BSOC Psy in honors in Psychology and Social Sciences, and then a PhD in Organizational Development and Diversity Management, Introduction to Leadership for Africa's Renewal Qualification, respectively. She's inspired by honest, hardworking, principled, ordinary men and women who give of themselves with no exception. And she is our president. Her motto in life is, no one is coming to save us. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Therefore, as a leader, she knows it takes a collective to have the answers. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you so much, our national chairperson of young professionals. We sit on the board together, so thank you so much for that. And wow, from Kuha, the presentation, and the passion for young people. It's, I've been sitting here just listening to you, and I'm thinking, this is what happens when someone has found their purpose and they found the space that they are in, and they know why they are there. You can feel it in their voice, you can feel it in the work that they do, that they are clear on their why. And thank you so much for coming to this session, to our platform as BMF, and share this passion that you have and the opportunities that young people stand to gain if they hang out with you. I think you've said basically most of the things that I would have said, because my conversation here would have been about you as a young person and as a human being attracting the opportunities that you need to attract, because essentially it starts and it ends with you. People can come with all sorts of opportunities, but if you are not clear on your own goals, on your own purpose, and your own direction in life, it will be difficult to even see some of these opportunities. They will be right under your nose and you won't see them because you are not clear. So I wanted to dwell on that, and it has already been, I think, covered so well. So my contribution now, I would like to just say, looking at where we are as a country, the statistics when it comes to young people and employment, it is very scary. I mean, I look at it and I feel like this is a time bomb. This is scary. 61% of 15 to 24-year-olds who are looking for jobs cannot find a job. 61%. That's just, the number is just too big. As a country, we should all be sitting up and saying, what do we do about this? Because it is just, it's unsustainable. It's a problem. So if you are on this platform and you are working, it means you are literally 1 in a million. You are one of the lucky ones to have found an opportunity to find work. So what does that say? What do we do with our young people, and the hope that we give you guys who are on this platform may not be, you've got your qualifications and you may still be looking, what do we do, and what do you do as well? You can be despondent, you can feel a whole lot of things. You can even take up arms and rebel against this government that is doing this, or these adults that were supposed to have looked out for you and they have not. Because essentially it's feedback on a certain generation and their preparation for the next generation. And what did they do? In this case, it means we have not done enough to ensure that our young people can find opportunities for them to have a sense of identity and sense of dignity because they have something to do. Essentially, that's what it means. We have not done enough. So what does that mean for you as a young person now who realizes this, that not enough has been done to prepare you for meaningful contribution to society? And from where I'm seated, it is as clear as daylight that it means now the ball is in your court. You can do what your parents have failed to do, or the adults that were supposed to prepare you have failed to do. You can literally take it up and do something about it. The opportunity that the situation that we find ourselves in, that it presents, is that we stand to be in a position for the first time in a very long time, especially as a Black community, to start creating entrepreneurs or employers, people who are thinking, if we are finding ourselves in this situation, what do I have in my hand that I can use and turn around to create employment for others? You literally have that opportunity because there's no one who has prepared you and done all of these, created all of these opportunities for you. It means the opportunity is that instead of us creating people who are all sitting there waiting to work for someone, you literally can be that person that can work for yourself and create opportunities for others. And for me, that's the one thing I would like to take out from where we find ourselves as a country, that it's possibly a gift, especially to Black people, because many of us, I mean, including the organization BMF, we are here trying to change companies that were created by certain individuals, and we want to transform them to be inclusive and inclusive of us, basically. For me, this opportunity is saying, maybe if you're not finding opportunities to enter into workplaces that were created by someone else, This is an opportunity for you to create the jobs and the environments and the companies that can be ours, and we can say they have the culture that is conducive for our ways of doing things, and honestly create what others have not been able to create. It's an opportunity and it's a challenge to you as young people. Obviously, it's a challenge that you will need to be supported on. You can't just be sent out, to go ahead and do all these things without support. But the opportunity is in you identifying that and start thinking in ways that generations before you were not thinking of. How do I become an employer? What idea do I have that can be leveraged and created, and so that I can develop something out of this idea and bring other people on board who can help me to execute this idea and build something out of it. That's the mentality that we are expecting from you guys who find yourselves in a predicament. It's an opportunity. It means it's basically saying don't panic. It may look dire, the situation, but don't panic, because it's also an opportunity for you to do great things. And the presentation of Justin, I think that for me, the biggest takeout is the initiatives that are put in place to create SMMEs, support them, create entrepreneurs, support them, make sure that they succeed. The encouragement is that dream big. Don't limit yourself, because anything is possible. All dreams can come true. All we need is just a mental shift from looking for jobs to creators of jobs. For me, that would be the most important thing, that mental shift needs to start happening. Expose yourself. The fact that you are here, for me, is a big thing. It's a start and it's a big thing, because now you are even saw the opportunities that are there. That's how life works. You expose yourself and then you start seeing that actually there's a way out. It's not all dark and gloom. There's always a way out, but you can only see the way out when you expose yourself. When you check your attitude, you know that what kind of an attitude am I bringing to the table? When I walk into a room, we are human beings, are just energy. So when you walk into a room, an energy walks into the room. So check yourself. What energy do you carry with you? That when you walk into the room, do you repel people or do you attract people? You know, do you come in and show that you've got something to offer and everyone gets attracted to that thing that is able to offer? Or people just don't want to be associated with you? Even if there were job opportunities or whatever opportunities, if you carry an energy that is negative, that is repelling, you won't go anywhere. So check yourself, check your energy, check your intentions. Do you want good for all, or do you just want something that a door to open for you only so that you can close it behind? You know, why do you want what you want? It's very important because it opens or closes doors for you. Opportunities are here every day. We see them, but you will only see it when you have the right energy, the right attitude, the right goals, the clarity of where you want to go in your life. Then you will start seeing what you need to be seeing. From a BMF perspective, we are here for you. Our role and our job, our main job, is to ensure that we support each other as Black people. We create platforms and opportunities for each other as Black people, and we advance together as a people. That's why we are here as BMF. When we say we want socioeconomic transformation, it simply means we want success for Black people. We want Black people to occupy spaces that they've never occupied before. We want them to think dreams and dream dreams that they never thought possible. We want you to be at the top. That's why we are here. So we will support you in every way that we can. There's currently programs that are there that are geared to enable you in those dreams that you have, give you the way in, you know, and then once you are in, you can always figure it out. But our job is to make sure that we open the door so that you can just come in. So the MLTP program, for instance, is one of those that you can access and can assist you and give you the tools to say, how then do I take it from there? Partnerships, the different partnerships that we've got that you can literally apply for and leverage them. The Juke partnership that we have a partnership with Gibbs. We've got a new partnership that we're starting now with IE University, which is a university based in Spain. We're trying to also look for opportunities internationally, that whatever skills that you are looking for, you can be employable. You heard earlier that sometimes the problem is not employment, it's your employability. Are you the type of person who's employable? If that is you are looking for a job. For me, from where I'm seated, ideally, you should be thinking about being an employer rather than being employed. And there are programs for that. KUHA is one agency that is in the Eastern Cape. In Gauteng, we've got the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. It's very similar to KUHA, just bigger because there's more SEZs under it. But the concept is exactly the same. The work that is being done is exactly the same, creating opportunities to develop young people, help you to incubate you. If you've got an idea that can be incubated and grown from concept into an actual product that can be sold, and you get given the skills on how then do you develop the marketing plan to ensure that you sell your product that you've got, you know, the strategy that is needed for that, you get assisted throughout the value chain until you can stand on your own and be a small business player, and then from there take it up and start exporting even internationally and grow big. The intention is that we must not remain small. We must create industries that go to other countries looking for markets, because we have developed so well in our small markets in this country. Then you can start opening your markets and start selling your product outside. And there are programs that can support you for that. You will only know of those programs when you are aligned with your vision, you are clear with your goals, and you are clear with your sense of purpose and where you're going. And that's the biggest job that as a young person, you need to be focusing on. Understanding who you are, why do you exist, and why do you want to do the things that you want to do, and how then do you get help to be taken to where you need to get to. And the help is there, but you must see it. Otherwise, it just becomes dark. Papa was chatting to Papa earlier on, and he mentioned the current wave of interest in terms of sitting on boards. It's good to sit on a board, but it's huge responsibility. You need to be emotionally ready. It's not just something that is cool and that everyone now can have access to. You must be emotionally ready. It's not just about skills. You are entrusted with lives when you sit in a board. You have employees that you must be taking care of and making sure that the direction of the organization at all times keeps them in mind and it takes them into consideration. It's helping them and be mindful that these employees have families, they have children, they have, you know, so the organization must always run appropriately and be sustainable for the shareholders and also the employees of that organization and all stakeholders that are involved in that. So being in a board is not just some cool thing that everyone needs to be wanting to be in. You must ask yourself, are you ready? It's not only just a skill. As BMF, we are providing the training, board training, to enable you to have the opportunity. And so that it's within your reach. It's not something that is outside. But be mindful that sometimes the biggest thing that you may need over and above the skill is the emotional intelligence. And more often than not, emotional intelligence comes with time. So you have to give yourself the time that is required for you to be the individual leader that this country deserves and that this country can look up to and say, we managed to develop the right people that can be developed for this. We gave them the opportunities, but we also gave them the time that is required for them to get to the level that they need to get to. And therefore, we can stand proud and say, these are our leaders and these are the right leaders. And as this board, at least, and this presidency, we are committed to that we must give our young people the opportunity, the time, and the skills that are needed so that we don't look back 5-10 years later and find ourselves with adults who are in no position to create sustainable contributions to society, such as creating opportunities for young people to work if they choose to find work. You know, that's the kind of adult that we are committed to building. But I'm happy that you have been here and you've seen all the opportunities that are there. It's not just Guha that is presenting these opportunities. They are available and you can only see them when you are aligned and you are clear on where you are going. Thank you so much, everyone who's online. Thank you so much, the leadership, young professional leadership, for organizing this. I think it's really wonderful what you have done. And I'm really hoping that all the young people who are online have gained so much and they will find a way to take advantage of these opportunities that have been presented. Thank you.
Yeah, Doc, thank you so much for that. You've summed it up nicely and gotten us up to 8 p.m. I know that time is always a thing that we worry about, but I always tell the team in the YP that, you know, sometimes this is the nature of these gatherings. They stretch and we must give them the respect and time. It is a sacrifice, colleagues, to be part of an activist organization like the PMF. Being an activist is itself a sacrificial act. So if you're not willing to sacrifice your time for this kind of thing, it's possibly because you are in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we appreciate that you've taken time out. And when I was asked earlier, what time are we going to finish? I was actually just intervening because Thabang was disconnected. But I think we're going to open for some Q&A, and people we won't hold anyone from leaving the meeting if they choose to, but we don't want to also do a disservice to those who actually wanted to ask specific questions or make comments or whatever. This is the nature of the beast. We can take a few questions and then we will draw to a close. I think what will happen is that there are options. You can type in the chat. You can raise a hand, and I think Mamelo will be able to pick you up and for those who raise their hands. But for now, until there are any other questions that I'm seeing, Thabang, it is your meeting, so I do want to throw it back to you. There was a question from, I suppose, Luyolo Mangojwa, who said, is this not about young professionals assuming 35 years old and under? I think it's a session, Luyolo, hosted by the young professionals of the PMF, intended in many ways to be addressing the needs of young professionals around areas of economic opportunity. But at the same time, we are not an organization that only exists for young professionals. We're a chapter within the PMF. So I hope that answers your question to say that this is an initiative of the young professionals, but it doesn't mean that the nature of the discussion is only confined to that if our socioeconomic landscape breaches beyond the age gap or the age group that is in question. Yeah, I think, Thabang, I don't want to facilitate your session, my brother. So I don't know if you're back in the meeting, and there's a question here from Sipe. Do you want to take it, Thabang? Okay, is Thabang still having good? Okay. Yeah.
I'm here, Chairperson. I thought
able to
the
read
question
the
was
chat?
yes. The question was actually raised when Messi Botuma was presenting about the BMF Young Women Initiative that she's mentoring a cohort of women. So the question was relating to how other women from other provinces could be part of that. And I think maybe we could leave it best to Messi Botuma from Guha to answer that question.
Yeah. Messi Botuma, you can answer in the meantime, because we are having compliments and thank yous coming in for now from Alistair and from Bokang.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. The best way would probably be to get in touch with Ayanda. We do have women from all around the country, different provinces. You just need to get in touch with Ayanda. I think she leads the young women professionals in Gauteng. Am I correct,
Yeah,
Papama?
that's correct. Yeah, that's
Yes,
correct.
and then she will put you in touch.
Yeah, thanks. There's a question here from Alistair. Doc, you mentioned that you are partnering with international universities. Is BMF looking at partnerships within Africa?
Yes, international includes Africa. We just are in a privileged position as South Africa that most of the development is here. So what you tend to find is that universities, African universities or students from African countries prefer to come to South Africa for their studies because of just how we are ranking internationally. But obviously the partnership is across. International means everyone. And Africa is our home. We don't ask for permission to come to Africa.
Thanks, Doc. Morore Sekukune. Mamelo, can you see Morore? Yeah. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly.
Yes, it's Morore Sekukune.
Thanks, good.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay,
proceed.
yes. Yeah, my name is Morore Sekukune. I'm a student of University of Limpopo. I'm doing my first year there. And to say a member to be of the BMF student chapter. So I'm fresh off high school. So I wanted to check because maybe to us first, do you have any program which really intends to emancipate people from young people, basically children, from the basic education of the mental colonization in terms of how the system is being built, that it is built to produce people to be employed, not to employ? Is there any possible way of really trying to find more employers in this kind of a system? With that question, I really have this idea of actually building a school of decolonized education system in Africa where it would be really dealing with the economy, the culture, and how really to break through the global economy of Africa. So I want to check if there's programs that are set aside to actually deal with creating employers from the basic, from the foundation, especially from crèche there or primary schools.
I don't know. Tawan, do you want to take that one? Okay.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would think perhaps let's allow our guests to provide guidance in that regard. My understanding of his question is actually the various opportunities that exist for young professionals to focus more on being employers, not just being employees on them, relying on qualifications and queuing to be employees. So perhaps I've heard the two speakers deliberated more on opportunities that exist for SMMEs. When we're speaking of SMMEs, you'd understand that it means someone went to university or gathered a particular skill, but instead of using their skill to be an employee, they chose to be the employer, which Mr. Morore Sekukune is also having a solution for. So I think our two guests can maybe clarify it more. Thanks.
I can come in there, Tabang, because I mentioned this point about
Yes,
creating more employers. That our system currently is not geared that way. If you look at it from lower levels schools, it's not yet that way. But we find ourselves with an opportunity to start thinking that way, because everyone has been trained or prepared for a job somewhere that is ready waiting for them. And now we arrive here and realize that actually there's not enough jobs for everyone. everyone has been told that they need to go to university and study whatever degree. But then we realized that actually we need more people going to TVET colleges than university. We need people with skills that they can use and they can sell those skills. They don't need to rely on someone giving them a job. They can just be artisans and a whole lot of other things and create their own jobs and invite others, build companies. That's what we are realizing now. And it's an opportunity. It's where we find ourselves. So if there are people who are interested in taking that up and taking it on, please, by all means, and then start looking for the partners and the opportunities that can assist you in doing that. For instance, with GDA, we have what we call the Innovation Hub, and we've got Ekasi Labs that are aimed at assisting or bringing incubation opportunities to the townships closer to the young people so that they don't have to spend too much money on transport to get to these opportunities. So they are there, it's labs that you can use to incubate an idea that you may have. You can access them. Obviously, there's a process on how you access them. You go and inquire on those processes. But the point is that once your mindset has shifted and you're thinking in a certain way, there's an opportunity to take you to the next level. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We also have on the chat Zinhle Machaya, who says, thank you so much to the young professionals and our seasoned speaker. And the question is, how do young professionals find people and organizations that are willing to take a risk in investing in them? We see the economy of our country still channeling resources to tried and tested spaces, while youth spaces and challenges remain unresolved as though they are new in our country. How do we fix this? I'm thinking Dr. Sibongile perhaps help us in this regard. How do we fix this?
Please repeat it. I lost you at some point.
The question is, how do young professionals find people and organizations that are willing to take a risk in investing in them? In contrast to what we are seeing now, whereby the economy of the country is still channeling resources to tried and tested spaces. How do we fix this?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the challenges that BMF has been faced with as well, in terms of transforming in spaces that are used to behaving in certain ways. What we know from 46 years of the organization and 30 years of transformation programs is that it's very hard to fix all of these things. What may be easier is creating a new path. And that's what I'm encouraging you guys who are here, that start thinking of new paths that you need to be creating. It's harder to fix existing things that, we don't even know how they started and why they became what they became. Stop asking those questions and start asking, what do I do to create a future that will look different for the next generation? Thanks.
Thank you so much. And we have
hands, eh? Are you seeing the hands? Oh, I think Memochait has got a hand up as well.
Yes, it's my hand. If I may come in just to add to what the good doctor said.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm going to tell a story because in my day, I'm always looking at the environment and picking up on things. So today we're going to visit one of the investors in the zone. And as I was waiting for my colleagues, I see this buggy which was delivering boxes and reams of paper to our organization. And on the side, it was written, Umnoto is in the mind and the results are in execution. So I thought that was really, really interesting and so apt and relevant for this conversation, because you have to create the results in your mind before you can ever hold them in your hand. And one thing that I am big on is to encourage young people to read, because Reading, we were again programmed to read books in order to write tests and exams. So we spent a lot of time acquiring knowledge, but how much are we doing with the knowledge that we acquired? Many of young people take whatever job comes, but then there are self-development books out there. If you walk into a bookstore, there are many also PDFs. I'm not promoting breaching intellectual property, but I'm just saying in this information age that we are living in, there is no lack of access to information. And they say the secret of the ages are hidden in books, because in fact, when I was growing up, there was a joke that said, if you want to hide money from a Black person, put it in a book, because they'll keep dusting the table, shifting it from one point to the next, but never really opening the book. And therefore you'll find the money there if you come next year. So I'm encouraging everyone to look for resources that they can read. And I've got my personal favorites that I tell everybody about. And amongst those is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It is a very good resource, and you cannot run away from education. I like the idea that came from the young men from the University of the North. However, I also want to caution, there are no shortcuts. With education, there are limitations. Doc spoke about interest in serving on boards. The conversations that take place there are on a different level, on a higher level. And the opportunities that exist out there, they require a new level of you. Your goals exist on a different level of frequency. And if you don't upskill yourself within to rise, there has to be an awakening for you to your eyes and your ears to be opened to the right opportunities. And the spaces that we are talking about for young people, I'm not a young person anymore, but I'm actually wondering, what spaces are we talking about? Are we talking about Facebook? What are you doing when you're on Facebook? Are we talking about LinkedIn? Are we talking about all these social media platforms that are stealing time, which is a finite resource? If you think about the fact that we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we spend so much time, on mindless things. So that paradigm shift that Dr. Vilakazi talks about, we need that, and we need to create spaces where there can be reading clubs of, personal development books, masterminds where you bring your idea, we thresh it out. When you walk away, you've got, a concept that you can start building on, and we cheer each other along, and we come back and have these conversations. So I'm saying this to say it's not going to happen in your backyard with you alone. Maybe it will happen. It's happened for, the Zuckerbergs. Those guys were bookworms, not bookworms necessarily, but they had a clear path that they charted for themselves, which didn't belong and didn't have space in the classroom. With us, if I was in a classroom, they told me, pay attention. If I was daydreaming, be here. So you couldn't exercise or use your imagination. And yet your imagination, as I sit here and talk about the Eiffel Tower, where do I take you? To Paris. We are all in Paris right now. You can create all the results in your mind. And in fact, the creative process starts in the mind. If you can't see it in your mind, you can never hold it in your hand. So I just wanted to add that to the last question that was asked. And young people have to put themselves forward because companies search for what they want. And then there will be those that prioritize transformation who will go out and search. And therefore, when people are searching, they're not searching for mediocrity. So what are you doing to make sure that you're building yourself up and up and up? And there's no, it doesn't come to an end. I'm on different programs doing different things at various times. And at first it doesn't make sense. Why are you doing this program? Why are you doing the next? But when you look back, you can connect the dots and start leveraging the knowledge from the different spheres and disciplines that you've studied from.
Thank you so much. Okay, there's feedback here. Let me just fix that. Okay, thanks, Mr. Sawatuma. There are two more questions, colleagues, that we're going to take, and it's Athandwe Dano and Dumiso Kholomane in that order. Can we allow them in, Mamelo? Over to you, Athandwe. You can unmute Athandwe. Are they able to
Hi.
unmute, Mamelo? Okay, yeah, looks like they're live. Over to you, Athandwe.
Good evening. Sorry, I raised my hand by accident. I was listening. I'm sorry.
Okay, he or she, yeah? Yeah, Mr. Holloman, I think you can go. I think Athandwe might be having challenges.
Okay.
So while they try to reconnect.
All right. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, sir.
Yes. For me, my name is Ndumiso Kholomane from the Eastern Cape. I just wanted to take
you're no longer audible. Okay.
I'm no longer audible.
Can hear you now.
Am I audible? Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank BMF and Kucha for this opportunity. And for me, on my side, I just want to send a very high appreciation of the youth of the BMF for this opportunity. And I want to say to the youth that there's no one who's going to come and save any of the youth. All the youth, they must try the opportunities that are there. Government is and institutions are trying to bring in opportunities. It's out to the youth to take those opportunities. There's someone who's living with disability. I just want to encourage the youth that no one is there to gonna take your hand. It's up to you to go to the people and to look up to people who've got opportunities, to knock on doors. One door will open. Up until such time, youth get up and stand up and realize that no one is going to come and save them. There is no savior. Everyone must stand up and find ways to seek opportunities, to come and get opportunities where they are, and also to try by all means to educate themselves to make sure that when that opportunity comes, they are ready for it. Thank you, Papama, and thank you for your team for this opportunity. I'm quite sold. I am looking at your website to see how can I join BMF. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kholomane. Thank you. What's Athandwe? Can we get them back on, Mamelo, please?
Chair, I think she said she raised the hand by mistake.
Oh, okay. Great. Colleagues, we are at 8:25, and I think at 8:30 we should all be with our families. We just want to say a big thank you to the attendees. Interesting statistic, this is probably the highest number of attendees who have completed a cycle in a YP webinar, at 40 people who stayed right through, even considering that we've exceeded the time that we set out for that. So there was obviously genuine, keen interest tonight. Unsurprising because of the caliber of people who we had here and the organization that we are hosting in the manner of Kucha. So very big thank you to you, Memo Khaitse Sebotuma from Kucha, and the entire Kucha leadership for allowing you to represent them this evening. I have to say that we need to talk about that 1% spend, but I think one of the things that we need to appreciate about this attempt here this evening is that we didn't want to have a closed meeting with you guys where you just tell us that you spent 1% and all of that. I think the spirit of the BMF is to stimulate public engagement so that these things are known, so that we can facilitate young people and young professionals in particular understanding where these doors that need to be knocked on are. We need to fix that 1%, guys, as a collective. And so I think the challenge being put to us here, even if it's undisclosed, is for us to come up with innovative and proactive ways to look at the Kucha strategy and to say, how do we change that picture drastically from that 1%? And even that 14% of women, if I remember the statistic correctly. So I think there are exciting times ahead. I want to thank our president, Doc, for gracing this. I have to really applaud Thabang. I'm lucky enough to work with a dynamic team of really talented young professionals who drive their own initiatives. So Thabang from the onset was the inception behind this brilliant gathering. And he saw it right through to execution. And all we were trying to do was support his great vision. And so obviously that means the community development portfolio is in good hands under his care. Obviously we would like people who are interested in seeing South Africa progress, in seeing young professionals grow and develop, joining the BMF and becoming members, like Mr. Kholomane has just indicated here. And we will have more of these sessions. We are having a session. You recall that Mayor Sebutuma spoke about sectors like the oceans economy. Next week we'll be zooming into the oceans economy. We think that the opportunity question for us is about looking at the economies of the future and seeing the BMF as a resource center to empower and equip people to be able to navigate that future. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you to Mamelo, who makes all these things possible, from designing the marketing material and right through to organizing the back end and managing the BMF young professionals and making us functional. Yeah, thanks, colleagues. I want to say thank you once again. It is 8:30 and I wish you all a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.